If I told you there was a feminine energy so powerful it could awaken in a man a deep need to be near you, but that it has nothing to do with seduction, physical beauty, or playing games, would you believe me? There's a truth about feminine magnetism that few know, and it can completely transform how you connect with men. I know exactly how it feels to be invisible, as if your presence doesn't really make an impact on anyone's life. I know what it's like to try to please, to strive to be noticed, to use all the strategies the world has taught us about how to get a man, and still feel empty, like you're playing a role that isn't yours. You're not the first woman to wonder why some women seem to attract naturally, while others wear themselves out trying. And no, the problem isn't your looks, your age, or the words you choose to say. One of the greatest scholars of human psychology discovered something revolutionary about the energy that awakens genuine male interest. It's not the woman who offers herself that he deeply desires, but the woman who fully inhabits her own essence. It's the energy of a woman who doesn't need external validation, because she has already validated herself internally. As long as you don't understand this, you'll continue to misuse your precious energy, trying to be what you imagine he wants, instead of being who you really are. Your feminine energy is too sacred to be wasted on empty performances. And today, you're going to discover what the true energy is that awakens in a man not just desire but reverence, not just attraction, but the recognition of being in the presence of something rare and powerful. There's a deep misunderstanding that our culture perpetuates about what truly attracts a mature man. We've been taught that we need to be sweeter, more available, more understanding, more physically attractive, that we need to show interest, make things easy for him, show that we are the ideal woman. But the truth is, this energy of chasing, of trying to please, creates the exact opposite effect of what we desire. The feminine energy that truly awakens something deep within a man is the one that isn't searching for anything outside of herself. It's the energy of a woman who has found her own wholeness and radiates that naturally. It's not coldness, it's not indifference, it's not playing hard to get. It's something much more subtle and powerful. It's the presence of someone who knows who they are and doesn't need to prove it to anyone. Observe women who exude this natural magnetism. They aren't necessarily the most beautiful by conventional standards, nor the most extroverted or seductive. They are women who comfortably inhabit their own emotional space. They listen more than they speak, observe more than they show off, and when they are present, they truly are. Not divided between being there and thinking about how they are being perceived. This energy works because it awakens something in a man that he rarely experiences, genuine curiosity. In a world where so many women offer themselves immediately, emotionally, and physically, the woman who keeps her own energy centered on herself becomes a mystery he wants to unravel. Not through manipulation, but through authenticity. The difference is subtle but transformative. Instead of projecting yourself towards him, you remain anchored in yourself and allow him to come to you. Instead of trying to guess what he wants, you clearly demonstrate who you are. Instead of adapting to his expectations, you invite him to rise up to meet you on your level. Deep psychology tells us that a man is naturally drawn to what he can't easily possess, but not in the material or superficial way we might think. He's drawn to the woman who holds something he recognizes as valuable, something that isn't there to be conquered, only to be honored. This magnetic feminine energy is rooted in what Jung would call integrating your shadow. It's the woman who knows both her light and her darkness, who has embraced her complexities and contradictions, who isn't afraid to show depth because she knows her depth is a gift, not a burden. She doesn't hide her emotions, but she also doesn't cast them onto others as if they were someone else's responsibility. The wild woman within you knows this energy instinctively. She knows when to be present and when to retreat, when to open up and when to maintain mystery, when to nurture and when to allow the other to find their own strength. These aren't calculated strategies, but natural movements of a femininity that's in touch with itself. This energy manifests in small details that make all the difference. It's the way you breathe when you're with him. Relaxed, not anxious. It's how you occupy the space, comfortably, without shrinking or inflating yourself artificially. It's how you listen, truly present, not just waiting for your turn to speak. It's how you respond, from an authentic place, not from what you imagine he wants to hear. When you inhabit this energy, a man senses something he can't quite name, but that draws him in deeply. The presence of a woman who doesn't need him to complete herself, but who chooses to be with him for pleasure, not out of need. This awakens in him not the hunter's instinct, but something much rarer, the desire to become worthy of her choice. Let's bring this to life with everyday situations. How does this feminine energy show up in real interactions? How can you nurture it without it becoming an act or a manipulative tactic? First, notice your physical presence. A woman who radiates magnetic energy isn't constantly fussing with her hair, checking how she looks, or adjusting her posture to appear more attractive. She inhabits her body comfortably, moves naturally, and her attention is genuinely focused on the present moment, not on the impression she's making. In conversation, she doesn't fill awkward silences with nervous chatter. She allows the silences to be, lets the pauses breathe, and gives his words time to resonate before she responds. When she speaks, her words come from a genuine place, not from a mental script of how to win him over. Pay attention, too, to how she handles disagreements or tense moments. She doesn't bend over backwards to avoid conflict, nor does she agree with everything to keep the peace. She expresses her perspective with calm strength, without needing to convince him she's right. This emotional integrity is deeply attractive because it signals she has a backbone, that she's not someone who will morph into any shape just to maintain a relationship. Practice the art of delayed response. When he extends an invitation, you don't need to answer instantly. You can say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This isn't playing games. It's the natural behavior of a woman who has her own life and makes decisions consciously, not reactively. Magnetic energy also appears in the way you care for yourself in his presence. You don't abandon your needs or routines to be available. If you have a nighttime skincare ritual, you keep it. If you need alone time to recharge, you claim it gently. This demonstrates self-respect, and self-respect is undeniably attractive. True magnetic feminine energy also shines through in how you handle your emotions when you're with him. You don't hide that you're an emotional woman, but you also don't use your emotions as a weapon or a way to control him. When you're sad, you allow yourself to feel it without making a scene. When you're happy, you radiate joy without being over the top. And when you're annoyed, you express it clearly, without aggression. This emotional authenticity is incredibly attractive because most people, men and women alike, go through life wearing emotional masks. To find someone who is genuinely themselves, who isn't afraid to feel, but isn't a slave to their feelings either, is like stumbling upon a true oasis in a desert of social performances. There's also a natural air of mystery to this energy, and it has nothing to do with playing hard to get. It's the mystery of a person who has depth, who has a rich inner life, who has thoughts and dreams that aren't immediately available for external consumption. She shares herself gradually, like layers that naturally unfold with time and intimacy. The woman with this energy doesn't tell her whole life story on the first date, not because she's strategically holding back, but because she knows that true intimacy is built in layers. She's not in a rush to be completely known because she's comfortable with herself, with or without his validation. Notice how this also shows up physically. Her touch, when it happens, is intentional, not casual or nervous. She's not constantly touching to get attention, but when she does, on his arm during a conversation, on his hand when passing something, there's complete presence in that gesture. This creates moments of genuine connection that are etched in his memory far more powerfully than constant, meaningless touches. This energy also reveals itself in the way she looks at him. It's not a needy, approval-seeking gaze, nor is it a calculated, seductive look. It's the gaze of someone who truly sees him, who is present, who is interested in genuinely getting to know him, not in impressing him. This kind of attention is so rare that it becomes addictive for the one receiving it. But there's a shadow in this quest for magnetic energy that we need to face honestly. Many women, in trying to cultivate this energy, end up falling into traps that undo exactly what they're trying to create. The first trap is turning authenticity into a performance. When you constantly monitor whether you're being magnetic enough, if you're maintaining the right energy, if you're being mysterious to just the right degree, you lose exactly the naturalness that makes this energy so appealing. Overthinking yourself kills the spontaneity that's essential to true magnetism. Another common shadow is confusing magnetic energy with emotional coldness or distance. Some women misinterpret this concept and start behaving in a calculatedly detached way, thinking this will make them more attractive. But magnetic energy isn't an absence of warmth. It's consciously channeled warmth, vulnerability offered selectively, emotional openness given as a gift, not a need. There's also the danger of using this energy as disguised manipulation. When you cultivate presence and authenticity with the specific goal of getting a man, you taint the purity of that energy with an agenda. Men intuitively sense when you're being genuine versus when you're executing a strategy, even if unconsciously. The deepest shadow, however, is using this energy to attract men who aren't prepared to honor it. Your magnetic feminine energy can awaken desire in any man, but not every man has the emotional maturity to respond to that energy in a healthy way. Some might feel threatened by your wholeness. Others might try to break your inner peace. Others might interpret your authenticity as a challenge to be conquered. That's why it's crucial to understand that cultivating this energy isn't a guarantee that all men will respond positively. In fact, it's a natural filter that will push away immature men and attract those who are ready to honor an integrated woman, and that can be painful at first, because it means you'll lose some suitors who were previously interested in the less authentic version of yourself. The secret to navigating these shadows begins with truly understanding the difference between cultivating magnetic energy and performing it. Genuine energy blossoms from your relationship with yourself, not your relationship with men. It's a natural byproduct of a woman who has made peace with who she is, who has healed her deepest wounds, who has found her own wellspring of inner validation. Start by noticing where you're still seeking external approval. When do you find yourself changing your behavior based on what you think he wants to see? When do you catch yourself trying to please, instead of simply being yourself? These are the moments where your energy is leaking away, where you're betraying yourself in the name of external connection. Practice moments of complete presence with yourself, regardless of whether a man is around. Develop rituals that connect you with your own essence. Maybe it's morning meditation, walks in nature, reflective journaling, dancing alone in your living room. The more you cherish your own company, the more naturally you'll radiate the energy of someone who isn't desperate for outside validation. Work on integrating your own emotional shadows too. A magnetic woman isn't someone who only shows her bright sides, but someone who is at peace with her entire humanity. This means making peace with your anger, your sadness, your fears, your insecurities, not to eliminate them, but so they don't control you. Develop a practice of deep listening, first to yourself, then to others. When you learn to truly listen to your own feelings, needs, and intuition, you'll naturally develop the ability to listen to others just as deeply. And this quality of presence and listening is one of the most powerful manifestations of magnetic feminine energy. Learn to honor your own rhythms and cycles. A magnetic woman isn't always available because she respects her own need for retreat, reflection, renewal. She knows when she's in a more receptive phase and when she needs space for herself. Honoring these rhythms creates a sense of naturalness in your interactions because you're not forcing anything. When you truly embody this energy, something profound shifts in how you connect with men. You stop wondering, how do I make him want me? And start asking yourself, do I even want to be with him? This simple change in perspective transforms everything because you stop seeing yourself as the applicant and start seeing yourself as someone who's also doing the choosing. A woman who radiates genuine magnetic energy isn't trying to prove her worth. She knows her worth, and she shows it simply by being herself. This creates a powerful energetic shift where the man naturally steps into the role of showing why he deserves to be in her life, instead of her trying to prove why she deserves to be in his. This kind of energy doesn't just attract attention, it attracts respect. Because when you deeply respect yourself, when you feel at home in your own skin, when you don't need external validation to feel complete, you inspire others to respect you too. A mature man recognizes the rarity of finding a woman who is truly at peace within herself. But the most profound transformation, you stop attracting from a place of neediness and start attracting from a place of abundance. Instead of seeming like someone who needs to be filled, you radiate wholeness. Instead of appearing as someone who is seeking to be rescued, you show yourself to be someone who is fully living their own life. That energy of abundance is magnetically attractive because we're all naturally drawn to people who radiate life and vitality. With this energy integrated, your interactions become more spontaneous and joyful, because you aren't constantly monitoring the effect you're having. You're simply present, enjoying the moment, just being yourself. And that authenticity is deeply attractive because it's so rare in a world full of people trying to impress each other. The woman who embodies this energy also develops a sharper intuition about which men are actually worth her time and energy. Because when you're not desperate for attention, you can be more selective about where you invest your precious presence. You more easily recognize the signs of emotional maturity versus immaturity, of genuine interest versus superficial interest. Let's move into a concrete exercise so you can start cultivating this magnetic energy today. Find a quiet moment in your home, sit comfortably, and place your hands over your heart. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to carry away any tension about how you think you should be. Now, ask yourself this essential question: who am I when I'm not trying to impress anyone? Let the answer come naturally, without judgment. Maybe you're quieter than you realize, maybe deeper, maybe more playful, maybe more serious. Whatever the answer, honor it. Next, commit to one small daily action that honors this authentic version of yourself. If you discovered that you're naturally more contemplative, create moments of quiet stillness in your day. If you discovered that you're more creative, dedicate time to expressing that creativity. If you discovered that you're more connected with nature, include moments outdoors in your routine. From today forward, practice being present in your interactions without an agenda. When talking to anyone, especially men, practice truly listening instead of planning your next response. Practice feeling your own feelings in real time instead of trying to control the impression you're making. True magnetic feminine energy isn't a technique to be learned, but an essence to be reclaimed. It's the return to the woman you've always been, beneath all the layers of conditioning about how you should be in order to be loved. It's the courage to be deeply yourself in a world that constantly suggests you should be someone else. When you inhabit this authentic energy, you offer the world something rare and precious. The encounter with a real woman, not a persona created to please. And for the mature man, that's irresistible. Not because he wants to possess, but because he wants to honor. Not because he wants to conquer, but because he wants to earn the right to be in the presence of such authenticity. Remember, you don't need to become magnetic. You already are. You just need to stop hiding your natural light for fear that it's too much, that it's not enough, or that it's not what others expect. Your feminine energy, in all its complexity and depth, is the most powerful gift you can offer the world. And the right man will recognize that gift as the treasure it's always been.